Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Until 6, where we talk about all things related to Five Nights at Freddy's. Today, for our first episode, where we talked about characters from the Five Nights at Freddy's universe, which are fairly forgotten, unknown, and obscure. FNAF has been running for over 10 years now. In a month, it'll be 12 years. And there's a variety of video games, books, graphic novels, 2 movies, and a plethora of merchandise, and of course, a lot of characters. So of course, some characters are bound to be forgotten and become sort of unknown in the heap of characters. It must be over 100 by now, I think. So we're going to be looking over some characters which have become forgotten in these many years. So let's begin. Endo Plush. Endo Plush makes his first and only appearance in Five Nights at Freddy's World, which was released on January 21st, 2016. He is an unlockable and playable character who can be added to the party roster for your game. Now, he has 3 attacks: Neon Wall, Eye Beam, and Water Hose 2. During loading screens, he also makes appearances with a tagline of, "Because character quota," meaning that he was created to fit a character quota. FNAF is semi-canon to the lore, with it being a bit iffy if the word that literally takes place and actually happens, events, or if it's more, allegory, a story, sort of thing. Now, on to the next one. Mendo. Mendo also makes his first and only appearance in Five Nights at Freddy's World. He runs Mendo's Endo upgrades in Fazbear Hills, the first level of the game. Now, he sells upgrades of endoskeletons to upgrade the player's defense. There is the reinforced endoskeleton, the steel endoskeleton, and the titanium endoskeleton. Looking at his design, we know that he is made out of titanium, as his chest is the exact same chest as the titanium endoskeleton, which can be sold to the player, the highest level of endoskeleton he sells. Now, his name is a play on the words mend, to fix something, and endoskeleton, the skeleton that holds up the animatronics as their frame, their version of our skeleton, of course. But of course, the thing is, he's there to fix things. He sells you things to prevent you from getting broken, so you don't need to be fixed. He sells upgrades to prevent you from getting hurt. He doesn't fix things after you're already broken. But still. Virtua Freddy. Virtua Freddy is a secret character in FNAF World. He only appears with the Puppet Pals, playable and unlockable characters in the game, use an attack known as Mimic Ball. In Mimic Ball, he will appear and repeat the last attack done by another player. If Mimic Ball was the last attack done, then he will not appear. But if the character did another attack, then he will come and repeat that attack. But the only attacks he cannot do are Mystery Box and Mystery Box 2, but for all other attacks he can do, such as the typical ones. Now, his loading screen quote is "blink and you'll miss him," referring to the fact that he only appears for a very short amount of time to repeat another character's attack. And of course, the Mimic Ball, he's mimicking another character's attack. Now onto a fairly strange one now. It's a little weird. Dark Springtrap. Now, Dark Springtrap made his first and only appearance in Five Nights at Freddy's sister location, which was released on October 7th, 2016. In the game, once you beat the Golden Freddy Challenge as part of the Custom Night, which you unlock after beating the main game, the Golden Freddy Challenge is a challenge where all the characters are on max difficulty. You'll get a cutscene showing Fazbear sprites after it is completely burned down. And at the end of the cutscene, he will emerge from the rubble for 2 seconds. Now, his name, Dark Springtrap, came from Funko, once the main creator of FNAF merchandise, as for several years they held the master license, producing most of the merchandise. They released a Funko Pop of Dark Springtrap, only released in Target. And now, in the description, it stated that Dark Springtrap was a variation of Springtrap which only came about when he became extremely angry, and that the Springtrap that we see at the end of the cutscene is the same as Dark Springtrap. Now, Dark Springtrap lacks a pelvis, lacks the wire withering at the end of the cut off ear and has the white eyes with a much darker coloring grading on his body, most likely due to the dust, soot, and ash from the fire as Fazbear strikes at the end of the third game, which makes his first appearance. Now for our last two characters in this video, the Magician and Little Joe. Both of these characters appear first in Find the Freddy's 6 location. When you go into the main control module, the room where you can overlook Circus Baby, they both appear. The Magician appears at the top of the computer desk. He appears to be stationary and unable to movement. But Little Joe is hanging from the ceiling and seems to be attached by strings or wires, giving to the idea that he was a puppet. Now they both reappear later on in Find the Freddy's Ultimate Custom Night, back in their places, and we see Little Joe much clearer, where he's very clearly a puppet on a set of strings, which gives to the possibility, the idea that maybe there's a kind of puppet show at Circus Babies during the one day of its operation. Now this is the Magician, and this is Little Joe. And now Little Joe has much similarity to the character of Lolly, which is one of the brand mascots in Find the Freddy's 6 Pizzeria Simulator, Lolly's Lollipops, one of the companies you can receive a sponsorship from. Now, while this attention is unlikely, most likely Scott Coffin decided to take his design and reuse it for one of the brands they take a sponsorship from. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's all for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it and like and subscribe. I'll see y'all around soon, so bye, have a nice time.